What if curiosity doesn't lead you away from yourself, but straight into who you really are? We're figuring that out together. Welcome to Humans Forward, the show that makes being human feel a little less complicated. I'm your host, Gentry Lusby. Curiosity once led me and my wife up this winding mountain road in the south of France looking for the perfect overlook. Turns out we were not on the right road. And as we kept driving, it kept getting narrower and narrower, smaller and smaller, until finally it just stopped. And we were trapped on either side by these two stone walls. But I had to turn around. So I started turning the car inch by inch by inch, going forward an inch, backward an inch, forward an inch, backward an inch. And the entire time, every single sensor on our rental car was beeping and blaring, and all the warning lights were going off. And we were laughing so hard, I could barely see through the tears. So yeah, curiosity, it might not always lead where you think it will. And it will rarely, if ever, give you a roadmap. But it might hand you a compass and whisper, just start walking. And along the way, you might even misplace your old identity or befriend fear like it's a loyal but maybe kind of confused friends, or maybe even return to the parts of you that you thought were lost but were never actually lost. They were just waiting for you to come home. Sometimes it comes like a whisper. Sometimes it's like a thunderstorm in your chest. But if you can learn to follow it, really follow it, it might just lead you to unexpected places, and they might even be better than what you ever imagined. And yes, there will be wobbles, but the wobbles are just showing you that you're onto something new. So today we're talking with someone who has followed his curiosity across stages into multiple best-selling books, even painting scraps of wood that he got out of a bin outside of his local lumber yard, into comedy clubs, and always, somehow, into deeper questions about what it means to be human. Welcome to Humans Forward, Rob Bell.
It's good to be with you in your basement in the sky.
Exactly. Hey, listen, it's such an honor to have you on the show, and I've followed your work for probably 2 decades plus. So to be able to sit here and have a conversation with you is just like super meaningful to me. So I'm really grateful to have you on Humans Forward. So
I love it.
Yeah. I was trying to think through, all right, you have an hour with Rob Bell. What do you talk about? Because there's 1,000 things that I would love to just sit down and talk to you about. But the thing that kept coming back to me was just this idea of curiosity. That's the word that kept popping into my head. And just living a life where you follow your curiosity with creativity and wonder, and where it can lead, and having the courage to follow it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hear how you've done that, hear how other people can do that, and see what comes of all of it. So I will say, we like to have a little fun on the show. So we have a couple segments that are a little more fun. And we're going to start out with something called This, That, or the Other Thing. All right. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you a set of 3 random things, ideas, thoughts, phrases, and you just follow your curiosity, and whichever one you're resonating with, tell me, and then tell us why. All right?
Oh, ooh, nice.
All right.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Here's your first one.
Very interesting.
All right. So you've got a blank page, an invisible friend, a trip to outer space.
Oh, blank page. I keep blank, a stack of white clean sheets next to me. Like, it's right here in my studio space. And like, this one is literally the other day I got a latte, and they give you options for milk, and one of the options was pistachio nut milk, which is the new oat milk. But oat milk was the new almond milk, and almond milk was the new other than cow's milk. So like the exotic milk battle. So like, what will be the next milk where they will say, oh yeah, pistachio nut milk, that like everybody has that.
Yeah.
Starbucks will have pistachio nut milk, but it'll be another milk
that
So
takes
that's
over.
just super. So I don't know how things get. This is almost like the subconscious, just what it finds interesting. Um, and yeah, like my da- my daughter is a photographer for the yearbook,
Okay.
and there's another photographer on the yearbook who she thinks is a terrible photographer. My daughter's 15, and she has a very, very strong aesthetic sense. Like it's like very deeply intuitive. That's lame. That looks great.
Yeah.
Like design
She's just
wise,
got it.
layout.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how strong clothes, how her room, posters on the wall, everything.
Huh.
But she was showing me talking about this other photographer, and she's like, "Look at that photo. That's just such crap. I mean, come on." She's like, and then she says, I mean, she rolls her eyes. She's like, "She just does not understand how the sun works." Is that such a great line?
That's awesome.
So she does not understand how the sun works. I have like there will be plays, novels. Like who knows? I don't know, but lots of things start with just a blank sheet that sits right there. And then when things come in, and I don't have any idea why they move me, or I don't know why she has no idea how the sun works, but it like pings something. So I note it.
So you just write it all down.
Yeah, you just capture it because it's
Yeah.
delightful. Look at your laugh about she does not know how the sun works.
Uh-huh.
I'm all right. We already won. Just the fact that I was completely delighted that she said that, not realizing she said something so weird and oddly profound and sort of surreal. But then when I give it to you and you laugh, I'm like, oh, okay.
It's good.
That's something.
It's good stuff.
No idea what, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's see what you pick next. So we've got a paper airplane big enough for one person to ride in, a locked door, or a map with no key.
I really, really am drawn to the locked door because of how many locked doors the latch is on the inside. Like how many prisons and cramped spaces we find ourselves in, and the handle's actually on our side of the door. Like you think about bitterness, resentment, holding a grudge, and we're holding on to it and nursing it like a cocktail about what that person did to us, and yet letting it go, setting them free, is
So-
actually fully within our powers.
When you see the locked door, the lock is on your side. You can unlock it.
Oh yeah, I always assume.
That's-
Yeah, I always begin with that. Especially like if you think about in creating things, the limits are always. Well, they talk about how the obstacle is the oracle. What appears to be the limit. Well, I just don't have enough money for that. Great. Then how do you make it for cheap? How do you shoot it on your iPhone? Like, well, that would require a lot of travel. Does it? Does it? Or how could you do it here then? Like the limit becomes the door into, as opposed to a door or a wall, the limit becomes a door in the wall.
Yeah.
And the handle's on your side.
I
Like
love
you think
that.
about, remember when the White Stripes, 2003, 4, 5, 6-ish showed up and there was two of them? I was like, where's the bass player? And she played the drums like a child, but also brilliantly and ferociously. And Jack White played these like Sears guitars, were they? Ward guitars from the 50s, these plastic guitars. Like they had chosen limits. And yet the intentional decision to live within certain limits creates this explosion of new. Like if I explain that band to you and they're going to wear red and white and they're either brother or sister or husband and wife, no one really knows. If I explained the band to you, you'd been like, that's not going to work. And yet it shows up like a blast of fresh, vital life. So oftentimes people are staring at the limits and like there's a wall. It's like, oh, actually there's a door in the wall and it's locked. And
you can unlock it.
yeah.
That's it's so fascinating because I literally have viewed the locked door as I'm on the part that you can't unlock. So I feel like we could just stop right now, and there's already so
right.
much. We're good.
Oh yeah, I was doing a session with a woman who was all jammed up and just needed somebody to hold up a mirror, essentially, which is what I do, and ask questions. And she has a podcast for young moms, and she was like, "I can't get like I'm surrounded by all my kids. Like it's crazy because I just need some space to record my podcast, but my kids are always coming in and out, and it's like impossible to find the space." But what's fascinating listening to her is, well, then who's the podcast for again? Well, I'm just trying to be like a solidarity for other
Mhm. Mhm.
women who have all these young kids. Well, do you record in your kitchen?
Mm.
No, why would I? Well, it just seems like having the kids coming and going in the course of recording would be part of it. Like I assume there would be people who would be like, "Oh, she knows what I'm going through." I can literally hear her kids interrupting
Yeah.
her because they want a sandwich.
Yeah.
So you just,
Yeah.
well, yeah, obstacle is the oracle. It's
That's
the invitation.
this is so good. That's so good. All right, here's your last one. A question with no answer. A thunderstorm in your chest. A sandbox at midnight.
Oh, definitely thunderstorm
Okay, tell me why.
in your chest. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking. I mean, you think right now, just the world itself. What is America?
Mm-hmm.
Where are we? What are we heading into? What giant structures are imploding, and what new things, and the choice to read this story as the end of the world or read this story as the end of one world because a new one wants to be birthed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are these pains? Sure. Are they also pangs with a G, like birth pangs
Mm-hmm.
of something? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, thunderstorm in the chest. Yeah, that's a good one. It's actually a really good line. I like that.
That's thank you. That's the one that I was drawn to as well. I just felt like it was such a beautiful metaphor for so many things.
Oh my goodness. You think like right now, I like the sadness and disappointment and loss I'm carrying around, the bliss of driving my daughter to school this morning, dropping her off, talking to my friend who lives in Pennsylvania actually, and then coming, and I was painting before I talked to you, and the paintings that I'm doing are like they're doing something to me, and how all that sits side by side within me. That's like a thunderstorm in the chest.
Yeah, my wife and I often say like life is just holding two opposing things at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's like
Yeah.
and
The heart has no need to pick one or the other.
yeah. Yeah.
It's perfectly fine with a number of things sitting side by side on the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you know that, it's like so freeing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So finish this sentence for me. Curiosity is what?
It's following something that you can both name and not name. You'll arrange your life around it. You'll move across the country for it. You'll live in a smaller house and drive a crappier car so that you can follow it. And on a good day, you can articulate it 51%. That's why trying to rationalize, defend, or explain your curiosity to someone else often doesn't work. You barely understand it. You just know that it. Underneath curiosity, I would say that free will is overrated.
Okay.
That the more empowered and autonomous you are, the more you are grounded in your deepest self, the more you become aware that you're drawn to certain things and you're not drawn to other things. And you can kind of explain that and you kind of can't.
Yeah. Right.
Like
Right.
certain, even relationships, conversations, you're like, yeah, no, mm-mm. And it's no judgment. It's just, yeah, mm-mm. You get, there's like these very, like the body is very, very clear. Let's follow that.
Where does
Yeah,
that come
excellent.
from? That like what you just described, where do you think that comes from?
Well, historically, humans have always essentially witnessed to what you might call the intuition,
Uh-huh.
the deeper self,
Uh-huh.
someone call it the true self. There's all kinds of different language that may help or may not, but there's some essence of a Gentry that is, you are both Gentry and you are both a witness to Gentry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So oftentimes the misery comes when the sense of self over attaches to the sense, thought, feeling, or perception. So there is, you're angry, so I am angry. Gendry is anger. I'm angry.
Mm.
And then there's also the ever so subtle witness to, oh, look, like you were saying, you and your wife talk about, there's, oh, look, I got some anger. Notice the anger.
Mm-hmm.
So the question becomes, who's observing the anger that's arising within the Rob or the Gentry?
Mm.
And that self, the witness to the anger, isn't angry. They're witnessing the anger. So you're both angry, and that's a very real, 100% normal experience of being human. And you're also grounded in the you who is noticing the anger.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that comes naturally for you now to like go into this higher self, observing self?
You learn it. You're always learning it. You're always, you're, that was what makes the whole thing so compelling. Like Kristen, my wife Kristen sometimes will say, like, if we're dealing with something dodgy, like finances or whatever, something dicey, something that's got like, ugh, she'll say, I wonder how this episode ends.
That's a great line.
Just so brilliant, because
Yeah.
what it immediately does is we're both in it, feeling all the feels. You can't bypass that or deny it. It'll just come up in some other way. And you can also deny, you can numb if you want. We have lots of numbing devices at our fingertips. But if you're going to be here and decide to feel it all and be a human, then you're in it, feeling all the feels. But I wonder how this episode ends is also the ever so subtle witness to all. Oh, look at this, Rob and Kristen having this experience.
Mm-hmm. Right.
In us.
Yeah.
So it's like you're at the wedding. You're also the drone shot of the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the human experience. I mean, some would call that meditation. And for many people, meditation sounds like the most boring thing in the world. Like, how do I have to sit still in silence for so long? You can also understand meditation as 100% different kind of experience where you are noticing all that is arising within you. Oh, look, that person like really pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get under my skin in some sort of supernatural way. How do they do that? Why do they do that?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on within me in my shadow? What have I repressed? What am I most terrified is actually true about me? And they have come to like hold up a mirror. And so I'm thinking it's them, but I'm playing, they're the screen. I'm the projector. I'm playing my movie on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that just becomes like a human being, becoming a human being then becomes utterly fascinating. And in the process, you lose this constant moral overlay of, I should be more patient. I shouldn't be more angry. I shouldn't be more hacked off at them. I should be better with money. This delusion in our mind that there's some other Gentry than the Gentry is sitting right there. So you lose a lot of the judgment, and grace comes in because you're just a human having an experience, learning how to be you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it like calms the system down.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning how to be me.
Yeah.
Would I think I would nail it on the first try? That would be weird.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do know what you mean. And in that sense, and like calming yourself down, that is kind of meditative and noticing. Do you feel like your blank pages is a form of meditation for you? Just noticing and capturing everything?
Oh, you're just noticing. Yeah. And without an edit button.
Yeah.
Like, it's going back to your question about curiosity. I don't know why. I don't need to know. Like the lumberyard near my house has these bins of free chunks of wood. And I was rummaging through those bins and like found all these weird chunks of wood. And I took this spray paint and then this pouring medium and did like these chunks of wood and spray painted them, and then did these like pink. I found this Liquitex pouring medium you mix with the paint, and you get this like a weird dot. And so I did this series of paintings called "You Should Probably Get That Looked At." See what I mean by I don't. It's and I have no training or expertise or skill in such a thing, so it's just all I have is my own sense of pure delight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I have.
Oh, and that's
Is
enough.
that that makes me that delight that makes me laugh at some
Yeah.
in some other place.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, for your listeners, if you reflect on the moments or the experiences or the recurring events in which you feel most you, they're generally experiences in which words fade. And actually to try and speak it, describe it, name it, almost ruins it. It can tarnish it and diminish it at some level. You move into some wordless place where the mind is calm and you're just with this person. You're just eating this meal. You're just in the woods on a walk. You're just dropping the paint on the chunks of wood, and there's something about it in which there's a certain stillness of the mind because you're just doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you feel like what you're doing now is like the closest you have felt to like the real Rob?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like you just keep discovering more essentially who you are as your sense of self you're holding even more loosely, because that was 3 Robs ago and that was 4 Gentrys ago. The more grounded you are in your sense of self, then the more almost fluid even what is a Gentry. Gentry could take up, I don't know, ceramics or skydiving tomorrow. We don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that would not be a departure. That would be just a continued walking your path evolution.
Right.
Oh yeah, I had a distinct experience in 2021. I wrote a novel called Where'd You Park Your Spaceship?
Yeah, I have that one.
And there was something about the sprawl and realizing, oh, it's book 1, there's a book 2. And then I understood, and I was like, oh, I know what book 2 is. Oh, book 3. Oh yeah, book 3 will have to be, obviously. I had a creation experience. I didn't even understand what the book was about, but it evoked such dense emotion, sadness and grief and joy, that was literally what kept coming up was, oh, everything was a warm up for this.
Interesting.
Like, oh, this is, oh yeah, everything that I've been doing. That was a great earlier chapter.
Yeah.
What a lovely earlier things I got to do. But yeah, so you like own all of that. It was only ever me trying to be just being me, but also there are these moments of, oh, but this is me.
Yeah. So, okay, do you ever look back at the parts of your life then and feel I don't necessarily want to put like one specific emotion on it, but feel almost like negative about that time in your life?
How else do we get here? Like I grew up in this home where my father, this particular religious tradition lineage that I grew up in, it like held my father together. He had experienced horrific trauma, and this belief, code, tradition was like a glue. And what was this thing I was born into? What is this tradition lineage? What is this Bible?
Yeah.
God, Jesus, all that. And in the tradition I came from, if you had great curiosity about the big questions of life, well, then you studied these things. There were texts and commentaries and rituals, and you could explore all this. So yeah, we so I follow that. Like, I literally got a master's degree in divinity, which makes me laugh to this day. Master of the
You
divine.
are a master of the
Like, and
divine,
no
Rob
one
Bell.
like, I did a 3-year master's program, and no one ever went like, they never just went, I know, guys. This really is ridiculous, right? A master of divinity. But yeah, in some ways, no, in all ways, though, like, and then I became a pastor and I wrote books about such things. Um, I was making sense of where I came from at the most intimate bloodline, DNA. What is this world I was born into? What about this? It's like separating babies from bathwaters. What of this is good and what of this needs to be left behind? Um, and as I did that work with a microphone,
Yeah.
typing,
Yeah.
it turns out that I was reflective of a larger world of people
Yeah.
who were born in similar
Yeah.
things, and me narrating my separating of babies and
Yeah.
bathwaters, other people, it's like you go far enough inside yourself, you find other people. So, um, yeah, like look at that Rob Bell trying to make sense of all that. And look at the like from anybody anywhere, your listeners who have like a shame or a cringe or a please don't ask me about when I was 26 and what I
Mhm.
said and thought and believed. Like, wait. Of course you said and thought and believed that.
Right.
That was like literally the water you were swimming in.
Yeah.
Like,
It's such a
like
hard
that's not
place to get to, though, for some people to like just be okay with
yeah.
everything that they've gone through, you know?
Right. Right. You end up at war with your own story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that does require an intentional well, actually, you're in Pennsylvania. The play that I wrote that is premiering in a couple weeks in your city. Um, it in one of the characters at one point talks about owning every square inch of your story.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like this is what we're learning to do,
Mhm.
and then anybody can bring up anything from any moment in your life, and it all has been embraced and swallowed up in something. It can still be horrible, awful, abusive. It can, yeah, for sure. Use the language you want to use about it. It also belongs within something even larger than that.
So, in your own life, then, in this like following your curiosity, making sense of this deep lineage that you have, did you, or where is the craziest, most unexpected place that you found yourself? This can be in any sense, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Following your curiosity, where's just the most unexpected place it took you?
Where has it taken me? Oh, I can think of a number of things where I was like, oh, like when I lived in Los Angeles, I knew the guy who was the booker at the Improv,
Mhm.
like the comedy club with the
Mhm.
brick background that's like
Oh,
iconic.
yeah, yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, do you ever want to do a set?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he put me on like a Friday night in the lineup. I was like, "But it has to be unannounced. It
Right.
has to be." And so I got there and I saw the lineup of comedians and Ron Funches was on the list and he's
Okay.
like really genuinely funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, but he was after me. So I was like, "Oh, good. That would that would not be good to follow that guy." And then right before the show was starting, the booker comes over and he's like, "Oh, by the way, surprise here. Kevin Nealon, legendary Saturday Night Live Kevin Nealon
Uh-huh.
just showed up. He wants to do a set. So he's going to go on right before you." I was like, God, because I wanted to see what it's like to be a comedian. And at that point, I had spent several decades literally paying the bills, standing on stage with a microphone. But I'm telling you, Gentry, when they're like, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Rob Bell," and I walked up, I was like, "Oh my God, this is this is a microphone, this is a stage, this is an audience."
Uh-huh.
But it was the strangest thing to be like on what would normally feel like home court
Uh-huh.
and have it be the most terrifying, unfamiliar. I was like, "Oh, this is why comedians say I killed it. You were killing it. She killed it. He killed it." Because otherwise it kills you.
Mm,
I mean, it was like space-time bent in some way because the architecture of a comedy club on a Friday night is make me laugh.
right.
And there's like a very short window you have to deliver that.
Yeah.
And if you don't deliver that, the room turns like so fast. Like in like
Right.
under a second,
Yeah.
it becomes a very cold,
Yeah.
dark universe.
A very scary place to be.
And that like would be an example of what's that like? Oh, now I know. And it was so fascinating to be like, oh, I don't do this isn't what I do.
Yeah. So is that the only time you did stand up?
But what's funny at that time, I was doing a tour called the Introduction to Joy tour, which the whole front hour was like fun. Like people would be like, you're doing that first hour is just stand up. But somehow in my, like I create
Yeah.
the world and you come into it.
Yeah.
You're not, whatever, but the expectations, whatever, it caught people off guard. And then it was lots and lots of laughing. But then you put a situation where it's like, this situation is about getting a laugh. And the whole thing gets blown.
Right. Totally different game, right?
I cannot believe how it was like a full body. Oh, this is like really, it was like a full body terror.
Did people laugh? I feel like, was it, I can't imagine.
No. And partway through, I was like, bro, because the voice in your head starts to get really like very straightforward. Like, bro, just give up. Honestly.
Oh, no.
And I literally shifted into like a Rob Bell thing.
Yeah.
And like told a story and like dragged it out about the meaning and the like I went into just what I do.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's it. I either just run out of the building or I just completely bail on everything that I had brought up here and just do something that I know how to, that
you can do. Right. That's awesome. I just think that's the coolest thing ever. So did you like, obviously that was, a slightly terrifying situation, but do you feel fear when you're following your curiosity? Do you ever feel anxious or like nervous or anything like that?
Yeah. And what happens, absolutely. What happens is those wobbles, you build up muscles for when they come. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is when I started a Patreon last fall. And I was like, what if, because when I discovered what Patreon was and how I was like, what if I did that and just when I came in like to the studio space, if I had like whatever's on like here, all these things, I'm just like just publish them, share them. But like in a sort of loose, effortless, oh yeah, I'll read them this. Oh, we'll talk about this. I swear to you, there was like a 2-month period where I was going to start it and I didn't. And I generally, if I have an idea, I just try it. I couldn't hit the start button essentially because it dragged up so much. I don't know what the word is, fear, insecurity, nerves. It was like, wait, you've been doing this in 1,000 different forms forever.
Yeah.
Why doing it in this setting? And it was almost, it dragged up this super, super innocent, tender, like a boy going, is it okay if I'm just me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like it, and I would go hiking on the mountain behind our house and just follow that nerve, that anxiety. Why is doing this thing? I have friends who do this. This is like just taking what I do and putting it in a one place and I'm like, okay, wait, that's not the question to be asking. The question is where is all this emotion coming from? So I literally just sat with it for days. Oh, there's a whole new kind of grace. Yes, it's okay to be you. Yeah, it's okay to be you. It's okay. But it like pulled up
Yeah.
it's like those subtle, nuanced layers that are in there that,
Yeah.
um, yeah, sometimes it feels like a new, oftentimes the next thing you're doing that you sense you're being invited into, it's like a magnet and it's pulling up little shards of metal of whatever. Generally, and the sessions I do with people, oftentimes the thing that they are stepping into to make, organize, create, do, launch, etc., they're it's like another layer of liberation and healing.
Yeah.
Generally, the liberation and healing is in whatever the person is being invited into.
Yeah.
And just sometimes 10 minutes of exploring it and you watch the person go, "Oh, this is about a message I picked up when I was 11
Yeah.
that I'm now at." And oftentimes because they've been whatever, successful, noticed,
Yeah.
accomplished, that stuff is all in there, and then some new thing comes along, "Let's try this." And they're like, "Why am I getting jammed up? I've done this 5 times. I've literally been a CEO 4 times. Why is this new opportunity wrecking me?" Oh, because this is an invitation to let go of that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. It's just that's exactly what I went through starting this show. It took me a year
Oh,
before I would
yeah,
record
yeah,
the
yeah.
first one because for that very reason, there was all this stuff coming up, insecurities and like, what are people going to think? And how do you just be yourself? All these things. It took a
Right.
year before I was like, you know what? I just got to do this. I've got to do it.
Yeah.
And I've just got to make it happen.
Yeah.
And just since starting, it's like liberating. It's like, oh, okay, this is good. This was the right thing to be doing, but I definitely needed to figure out what all that stuff was that was holding me back.
Yeah, and notice how the next thing that arises, you'll and you feel whatever the nerves, the fears. You'll also this experience. You'll be like, oh, this is as opposed to what's wrong with me. It becomes, yeah, this is how it works. Something new starts to tug on your sleeve, and it's like I call them the wobbles. Like, oh, here the wobbles are again.
Yeah, I
Okay,
like that. Yeah.
so you can see how do you ever get over it isn't really the question because you just get more and more centered in, oh yeah, this is, yeah, generally this is how you become much more conscious of the pattern,
Yeah.
which is something new comes in, it raises a bunch of new questions, and
Yeah.
I feel it all the way to my toes, the
Yeah.
nerves, the fears, the doubts, the whatever. I
Yeah.
sit with them, and then eventually we take the first step into it, and then we discover all kinds of liberation.
Yeah.
So you just become more tuned into the pattern.
And then we do it all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then as opposed to and then you discover the moral or cognitive overlay about these emotions are bad, these emotions are good, these feelings are to be avoided and eliminated, these feelings are to be invited and celebrated. You begin to be more and more aware of the overlays on things, and so you watch them fading because, well, I got all this anxiety. Is it you could also just rename it. Yeah, I'm getting those feels again. I'm getting the feels of something new. You just get aware of your own framing of it and the story that you're telling about it and how you get to decide the story that you're telling about it.
Which goes back to being the observer.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So then you realize, oh, look at how so then for most people in the modern world was built around the self is the mind.
Mm.
So the attachment, your thought, so the thought I am unworthy becomes the feeling I am unworthy becomes I am unworthy. So what you're learning to do is to notice, oh, that I am unworthy thought, there it is. Like you're just getting sharper and sharper at the self inquiry of, oh yeah, some of those that old voice is coming in telling me I'm an imposter. Oh yeah, there's that
Yeah.
imposter syndrome. There
Yeah.
you are. Oh look, sweetheart, coming in, roaring in, beating your chest, telling me that I'm not, yeah. Look at
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It's so
So you're
precious.
just more and more so
So
precious.
precious.
You're more and more aware that your mind and thoughts are just one more thing happening within you.
Yeah. Yeah.
For many people, that becomes the path is learning how to disentangle and essentially unattach the being from the thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a thought. They come and they go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Makes sense. What about when you following this curiosity? Was there ever a time for you when it was a threat to follow your curiosity? Like to your belonging, to your identity, to your work,
Oh
whatever?
yeah, I remember I bec- I got my first job as a pastor when I was like my first full-time proper gig in a church. Gig in a church is a good sentence. Um, I was 25, and I remember because, like, when you're young and you're just starting out, if you're a physical therapist or you're a, like, whatever, high school teacher, then you, like, that's your crew. Like, you hang out. And I remember I would, like, hang out with pastors, and I remember noticing that this common thing would happen where a pastor would say, "Oh, man, have you read such and such book? It is blowing my mind." Of course, I could never say that in my job.
Mm-hmm.
That I read that book or quote that, but oh
Oh,
my god, it's lighting me up.
yeah.
And noticing that there was this, like, the person's own discovery and exploration and curiosity, and then there was, like, a game face persona
Yeah.
that was the job.
Yeah.
And I remember late 20s, oh, I can't do that.
Mm.
Not like a superiority statement, but a
Mhm.
statement of, like, I whatever contract I have with the universe or being me, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm following something and I'm going, my job is to follow it in public and express what I'm discovering. And I distinctly remember thinking, well, I might not be able, I might get fired. I might not be able to do this in this form, in this container like this. And and having a very straightforward, yeah, yeah, let's just get that out of the way now. Yeah. We follow it where it goes, and that's what we're doing here. It was a very calm, it wasn't a dramatic or like a fantasy sort of, I'm gonna be a radical, I'm gonna be controversial. None of the it was never about those words. It was about there is some sort of, it's like a tender heartbeat of life vitality itself that I'm following, and that's the job. That don't think the other thing is the job. This is the job, and you'll figure out how to pay the bills. You'll be okay. But it was almost like some sort of deep, let's just make peace with this now so that later we're not like
Yeah.
there's some sort of resentment or some sort of like disempowered. The critics don't get like I didn't sign up for that game. So why would I play it now?
Was this happening like in the like the prime of Mars Hill and all of that? Like you were very public at this point when you were
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I more and more had a, what's the word? I was gonna say lack of alignment, but there was this institution that had like it had its own life force and budget, and it had to plan and it had, and I had no problem with that. It's just I was doing something, my loyalties, I loved those people and I loved it. And also I was following something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like there was like well, you need to sort of stop doing that for the sake of the thing. And it was like, actually, nah, that's not. And I had people tell me that, but it was like, yeah, no, I'm following something. Yeah. So that caused me. Yeah, that was. Whew,
Yeah.
I would bear it. Sometimes I would bear it in my body.
Yeah. Of course.
I would be
Yeah.
like exhausted. I went through a couple depression, which was being true to what I'm here and following and doing when a large multi-million dollar organization full of people I really loved and respected needed stabilities and whatever messaging that I couldn't do. Yeah, and literally had like really tuned in people around me going, "Hey, you just keep going. We'll sort it out." Um, I mean, you know what I mean? I
I
there
do know
were
what you
people
mean.
who saw it better than I could.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just keep following it.
Why do you think then, though, that people are afraid of the things they don't understand?
Oh goodness, the unknown. Like think of your limbic system. I mean, think of your ancestors on the plains of Africa. Is there a lion in the shrubs or not? Like this threat detection uh, radar system that kept. We're here because of it. Like if there is a lion in those shrubs, we're going to go the other direction quite quickly. If there's not, we're good. Like the assessment of the unknown and the mind mapping. So that's why when people talk about overcoming your fear, absolutely not. No, integrate your fears, but they keep you alive. But like when you walk into a kitchen, most people don't freak out, but there is a stove in there that's hot
Yeah.
and can be hot, and there are knives that, if
Yeah.
handled improperly, could cut you. So stove is hot, knives are sharp. But when you walk into a kitchen, most people don't have fear about going into a kitchen because they have learned. So that threat fear system has been properly integrated. If someone does pull out a knife, note it.
Yeah.
Um,
Pay
so
attention.
that's why like if you get passed by that 4x4 with a big no fear sticker, um, a lot of people are trying to overcome or resist or bypass or just override their fears. Well, yeah, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
It's
That's fascinating
learning
to
to
think of it
listen
like
and
that.
befriending your fear. So, like, I have a whole series of mantras I say to my fears, one of them being, thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you for alerting me that this decision might mean we lose money.
Hmm.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hmm.
I'll take noted.
Yeah.
That might actually save me a bunch of money. That also may be thank you, fear, for doing your job and alerting me to possible dangers.
Yeah.
And when you enter into a kindness with your fears, then they get integrated much quicker.
So is that how you address your fears now when they come up?
Yeah, yeah. Or people who are like, oh no, oh no, they argue with their fear, like that's not gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
People kill themselves. Cars go off
Yeah.
cliffs.
Yeah.
Like war,
Yeah.
bankruptcy. Like
Yeah.
what? So the invitation is to be fierce with reality. That could happen. You could have kids and they could absolutely break your heart. So somebody being like, "Oh no, you're a good parent. Your kid will be fine." They might not. So th- sometimes the delusion is what's asking to be poked. So your fears tell you, "Well, yeah, that could happen." And yeah, maybe. Thank you for alerting me. Um, I will trust that if it goes that way, I'll have what I need in the moment. But right now we're here. So fear is wonderful up ahead in the road, but the integration is to bring us into this moment. Do I have everything? Is this moment lacking? Do I have everything I need right now? Okay, good, excellent.
Hmm.
Thank you, fear.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, fears. Oh, another great one to say to your fear when your fear starts listing all that could go wrong is, but you have to say it with a smile, but you say to your fear, "I know, I know," because you're saying to fear, "Thank you. I am aware that those are all possible outcomes.
Mhm.
I know." Like, yeah, yeah, you're right. That could happen. I know. Um, and it's almost like fear. There's like, well, I don't know what they're saying. It goes over in the corner, has a smoke because it's like I don't know. I did my job. Yeah, it's like when you treat it with kindness, then it like just goes over and reads a book. It's like,
Right, right.
okay,
I'll just be in the corner if you need me.
yeah. Personifying fear has actually been very helpful for me because then you're thank you for yeah. Because sometimes fear is like, hey, they're lying to you. Thank you. Good, thanks. Needed that. Helpful.
I've um, personified grief a lot, and for whatever reason, never thought about personifying fear. And as you're talking, I'm just thinking through all these scenarios in my life where I'm like, oh yeah, I need to just be talking to my fear. I need to be like not trying because I've done exactly what we've said. I've tried to like shove it down or overcome it or whatever it is, but to just thank it and talk to it and all
Oh,
of that. That's so
or
powerful.
or if you imagine your fear is British and you say, "Noted, noted. Good job."
I'm gonna do that
You are
from
my
here on
friend,
out.
you're looking out for me, you have given me a list of annotated possible collateral.
Hmm.
Noted.
Hmm. Yeah. What do you think then? Curiosity is the antidote to.
Despair. Despair is the spiritual disease of believing that tomorrow is a repeat of today.
Huh.
Tomorrow will just be like a carbon, they'll just be dittos and carbon copies
Uh-huh.
going forward. So the antidote to that is a curiosity, which is, I don't know. Despair is I do know. Despair is a fossilized, calcified cognitive structure. The cement hardens. I know this. This is where this goes. It's all endlessly, at some level, just a repeat of this. Curiosity is like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's around that current turn. It won't be this because we'll be following something. So we won't even be in the same place.
Interesting. All right. So I'm going to switch gears just real quick. We're going to do something
Good luck.
called it's all right. I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best, Rob. I'm going to do my best. Follow. Let's see if we can do it. We're going to do something called Hindsight Hotline, which is a thing we play on Humans Forward, where I'm going to give you fictional scenarios and you give us your best advice, thoughts. It can be fun. It can be serious. I will say, as I was writing out these fictional scenarios, they may or may not be rooted in more truth than they usually are. Usually they're a little bit more funny, but I genuinely would love to know your thoughts on these things. So I'll give you a scenario.
Okay.
You hit us with your best advice.
All right.
All right. So my curiosity has led me away from everything that I once believed was true. What do I do with that?
Well, it sounds like you keep following it.
Just keep following it. Just keep going.
It seems like you would just keep following it. Also, it's so fascinating. Yeah, who does anybody see things exactly like they did 10 years ago or 20 years ago?
Hmm.
The framing of the question implies something's wrong as opposed to, isn't this what humans do? Like there would be no telescope, there'd be no electricity, there'd be no vaccines for polio or no one would do anything. Like think about the very basis of science is what's true. Well, let's experiment
Yeah.
and then let's revise.
Yeah.
Then let's test some more and then we'll revise. So the framing of the question implies it's a departure or something might, and I really left or you just went further into the center.
Hmm.
Like almost like
like
I
that.
left home. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you're more home than ever
Yeah.
because you're seeing what the thing really is.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So at a deep, deep energetic level, lots of people are carrying around, uh, I departed. And I'll even think about like radical. People use the word radical. Radical from the Latin, like rad, R-A-D, means root. So a radish is a root vegetable.
Hmm.
So a radical is not somebody who wandered off into the deep weeds. It's somebody who is even more grounded in the origins, the roots.
That's amazing.
So the radical at the company isn't the person who like is off doing something unrelated to the company. The radical within the company is the person who's actually tuned in to why this company even started in the first place.
Yeah.
The danger is the people who think they're the center who aren't actually being true to the original spirit of the thing. So lots of people think they're departing. It's just radical. This is like I'm just doing something crazy. Actually, it just sounds like you're doing the most sensible, rational thing. You're following this where it leads.
Yeah. 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 Totally. Totally. All right. Here's another one. In pursuit of something more, something bigger, I feel misunderstood by most people in my life, and it feels very lonely. How do I cope?
Yeah, there often is a feeling of being misunderstood. You barely understand it, so trying to get other people to understand it. So, as a general rule, explaining, rationalizing, or defending are not efficient uses of your energy.
Explaining,
Trying to
rationalizing,
trying to
defending.
make your case,
Mhm.
rationalizing energy, defending energy. Uh, so the the bordered boundaries around what you'll engage with people often shift because you're still trying to get your brother-in-law to get where you're coming from. A waste of time. You wait for somebody who has a genuine curiosity. And yeah, part of loneliness is actually absolutely necessary. We were trained, conditioned, programmed, marinated in a particular world. And what it often does is tell us how the world works. And then we begin to experience the world and have experiences in which it doesn't line up with what we were told how it is. And so we have all these voices on our shoulder. It's like our antennas jammed because we begin to encounter reality as it presents itself to us. And we have somebody, some voice or some message or some whatever teaching that's telling us that we're carrying around with us from earlier
Mhm.
that puts us at like out of alignment with reality as it actually presents itself to us. So a sense of loneliness, you could read it as loneliness. You could read it also as, yeah, my antenna is getting unjammed. So I can actually listen to my own deep knowing. Lots of systems hijack your own deep knowing. Lots of systems are built around you not trusting your own deep gentry knowing. Like, no, I know you're feeling that. I know you're sensing that. I know you've had that. No, but this is the truth. Somebody has a
Yeah.
vested interest in farming out your intuition.
Interesting.
So learning to trust this will mean periods that feel like loneliness because you're learning it's like clean out your antenna. This is happening on a massive scale right now. The collective, how many people, especially women, from day one picked up whatever you do, don't trust your own knowing.
Yeah.
And for lots of people, like actually, this thing's going to go off a cliff. Even just take our relationship to the soil, like the unsustainable nature of the human project on Earth,
Mhm.
and how many people were like, this I can see where this is headed. This is going to go off a cliff. We're not even going to have this. And the number of people in charge who were like, no, what are you talking about? We got this. And then the wheels actually do come off, and the person's like, okay, I'm listening to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Right.
is
Right.
happening
Right.
on a massive, or people who were told, do this and then you'll be successful. And then they did it, and It's a form of misery. So they're like, okay, I already played out that game. I did whatever. The job my parents said would mean that I had been whatever. I got trained in that. I went and did that. Made that money. Got that, whatever. So lots of people are like, a new navigation system is they're becoming aware of it. It involves the body, it involves love, it involves alignment, and it can feel super like wobbly and like because the old musculature was I'm looking for somebody to tell me I'm on the right track. And the new navigation system is internal, not external. You still need people because we need friends who will say, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling. It's almost the end of the, so here's what you should do. As my kids would say, okay, boomer. You know, the person who's like, you know, my advice? Yeah, no, not interested, didn't ask. But the friend who's like, can hold up a mirror.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. What's the pattern there? How far back does that go? What's it feel like? Well, let's play it out. The friend who even and then it's a completely different kind of parent. If you're a parent, your job is to help your kid learn to listen to their own deep knowing. As opposed to, well, that wasn't the college I wanted them to go to. Who cares? The great architect Louis Kahn would begin who's from your area actually. Louis Kahn would begin a design project by asking, what does this building want to be?
Hmm.
So like you can see in the new world,
Yeah.
what does this Gentry want to be?
Yeah.
So
That's
very much different, as opposed to what
beautiful.
would be the markers by which we would decide that Gentry had been whatever,
Yeah.
successful, worthy, that
Yeah.
our efforts proved valid. Ugh,
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly. Wow. That's such a great question and such a good spot to end here. But who does that? Can you say it again? Who does that person want to be? That was what you were saying, right? Like,
What does this building want to be? As opposed to a external compelling, it needs, it's it has an internal force that wells up within it. So let's listen to that.
Yeah.
Let's interview it. Let's talk to it.
yeah. I love that so much.
Let's pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Let's see what it wants to be.
Yeah. That's so good.
Like your show. Like when you started your show, you're essentially, what does this want to be?
Yeah.
So let's fall almost like it already exists. So
Yeah.
let's get to know it. Let's try some things. Let's see what it wants to be. So you just keep learning what it wants to be.
Yeah. So good. So good. This last question is just genuine curiosity, but what's a question that you've never
The
been?
other question. This is genuine.
Yeah,
curiosity.
that's
What
right.
other
You're
ones?
right. I shouldn't have phrased it like that. I'm curious what question you've never been asked that you wish someone would ask you.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have any. I wouldn't ever wish somebody. I would just start talking about something if I wanted to say it.
That's brilliant.
In some ways, my work is just me going, this is what I'd like to talk about. This is what came up.
Yeah.
I'm giving expression to this.
Yeah. That's so good.
I wouldn't wait
Yeah.
for someone.
You just do it, which I love that. Which is why you're Rob Bell.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. All right. So we always end with What a Time to Be a Human awards. And I'll just give you, there's 2 categories of awards categories. You can pick anyone you want that you know, that you don't know, dead, alive, to win the awards. So most likely to chase a wild idea across the universe just to see where it goes.
My wife.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. The winner, 19 years in a row.
All right. And most likely to answer a question with a question and somehow make it all make sense.
Oh, my beloved friend, Stephen Mitchell.
Okay.
Stephen Mitchell is 80, 81. And Stephen Mitchell did the translation of the Tao Te Ching right here. And he's like a beloved friend, but he is what a human.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we get together on a regular basis and
That's so cool.
I'll start talking about something and he'll ask a question. And I was telling him about this new play that I've written.
Uh-huh.
And he says, oh, interesting. He says, It reminds me of an Ionescu play I saw in Paris in 1962. Is that great?
That's awesome. All right. Well, Rob, thank you so much for being on the show. It truly was an honor to talk to you.
I loved it.
All right. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks for having me on.
And thank you for watching and sharing this episode. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.